Today I wanted to do a tier list of the Dragon Ball Z sagas for a couple reasons. I love Dragon Ball Z. It's one of my favorite TV show, anime, however you want to, whatever box you want to put that in. And tier lists are really big right now. I did another one with my friend Jeremy Branch where we did the MCU movies on a tier list, and I really wanted to do one for Dragon Ball Z. Like with all things, this is just my opinion. I will tell you why I feel a certain way about certain sagas, so I'm not just blindly putting something in the D tier or F tier or A tier or whatever, just for the fun of it. I will have a reason why. You may disagree with that reason, and that's okay. And if you do, let me know down in the comments below why that is. Just keep it civil is the only thing I ask. When most people think of the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, they think of the Saiyan Saga, but it's actually broken up into two sort of sub-sagas, the Raditz Saga and the Vegeta Saga. The Raditz Saga is from the very beginning of Dragon Ball Z all the way up until pretty much his death. Vegeta Saga takes place when Gohan's doing all that kind of fun father-son training with Piccolo all the way up until the end battle with Vegeta. So it's a good bit longer than the Raditz Saga. Here's my Raditz Saga icon. I tried to make the pictures, from the saga itself. So I rewatched the Raditz Saga recently, and some of it holds up, some of it doesn't. However, just in terms of respecting the series, this was a huge turning point for Dragon Ball fans. This is when you had all these revelations of Goku being like an alien, being a Saiyan, realizing he has a brother, that there are other Saiyans. It also mended the relationship between Goku and Piccolo and created a whole new dynamic with Piccolo, Goku's former enemy, raising Goku's son, and the effects that would have later on in the series. So I do respect the beginning, like the very beginning, a lot. I will place it here in the C tier though. There's a lot of room for improvement, and there's a lot worse, and we'll get to that. Up next, the Vegeta Saga. Now, when I'm talking about these sagas, I'm talking about like the extended, uncut, long versions of Dragon Ball Z. So I'm not talking about Dragon Ball Z Kai, for instance. In this saga, there's a lot of filler and a lot of build-up that led to the iconic battle between Goku and Vegeta. It set the standard for the relationship between Goku and Vegeta from the beginning of Dragon Ball Z all the way to the very end, almost 300 episodes later. This is such an iconic moment, and it's so well done, and it shows the dichotomy between Goku and Vegeta in terms of Vegeta's elite status and Goku's low-class status. It doesn't get much more Dragon Ball Z than their fight, so for that reason, I'm placing this in the S tier. Up next is the Namek Saga, and we get a lot of growth from a lot of characters in this saga. This is when Vegeta and Krillin and Gohan all sort of have to band together. We're introduced to the Ginyu Force, but the Ginyu Force have kind of a saga of their own. We're also shown just how evil and how terrible Frieza really is, with examples of him just killing Namekians and doing all these terrible things. I always forget to think about the Namek Saga when I think about Dragon Ball Z, and I don't really know why that is. I'm not talking about like Goku versus Frieza, but just like sort of the build up to that. I would probably place the Namek Saga right next to the Raditz Saga on about a C tier for me. Up next is the Captain Ginyu Saga. Here is where we start to see some of the payoff for the build-up from the Namek Saga. This is when Goku arrives on planet Namek. He fights the Ginyu Force. This is when Ginyu trades bodies with him. This is the first time that we see what real power jumping looks like. When Ginyu went into Goku's body, he powered up as much as he could, and his power level went to about 180,000, which was astronomical in comparison to the highest that we had seen up to that point, which I think was Vegeta around 24 to 30,000. So it was huge. It was way bigger.
180,000! Astonishing!
It was so much bigger that Vegeta actually thought that Goku became a Super Saiyan by then. So it was all this stuff, Goku arrival, better than the Namek Saga. For that reason, I'm going to place it here in the B tier. After that is the Frieza Saga. And the Frieza Saga, as you know, consists pretty much entirely of the battle with Frieza. We see him go out of his base form for the first time into that second huge form, that third weird alien looking form, and finally his final form. Well then I guess, and then 100% final form, but whatever. Vegeta dies, Goku becomes a Super Saiyan for the first time. It was just this monumental build-up. Not to mention, still holding true to this day, the longest battle in anime history. It was amazing. For these reasons, it's up here in S tier. It doesn't get any more iconic Dragon Ball Z than that. Also, it would have been a comfortable ending for the series itself. They built Frieza up from the very beginning of Dragon Ball Z, as well as the Super Saiyan legend. It would have been great had Frieza died, and then Goku, having finally reached this transformation, not seen in 1,000 years, also died there on Namek in this climactic battle. And I think that that's where Akira Toriyama wanted to end the series originally, and then it was just so popular they kept it going. Up next is the filler, the Garlic Jr. Saga. Not really memorable. I remember as a kid really thinking that it was fun seeing, Yamcha and Tien and Chi-Chi Bulma all turning evil and stuff, but it was really just filler to get to the next stuff. I think it was at this point in the anime that they had gone beyond the manga, so not very good at all. For that reason, I'm going to put it here in the E tier, down pretty low. After that is one of my favorites, the Trunks Saga. Now let me take you back in time here because I want you to have some context and perspective when it came to the Trunks Saga. This was the first time that we had ever had any mysterious person. I think the actual episode was called The Mysterious Warrior, Mysterious Stranger or something. We saw this random person turn into a Super Saiyan, shrouded in mystery, looking badass as hell. It was amazing. And then not only that, but to see him kill Frieza like it was nothing. Watching him transform into a Super Saiyan and then Frieza's just absolute almost PTSD from seeing another Super Saiyan.
They have the same eyes.
It's very memorable, very short. It takes place pretty much right after the Garlic Jr. Saga, up until Goku arriving back on Earth from Yardrat. Very short, very memorable, very classic Dragon Ball Z. For that reason, I'm putting it here in the A tier. Up next is the Android Saga, consisting mostly of the preparation for the androids. The androids first arriving on that island ended up being Android 19 and 20. Also consists of Goku getting the heart virus, Vegeta becoming a Super Saiyan for the very first time, extremely iconic, and ending roughly around the time that Piccolo and Kami were fused back together. It has a lot of wonderful moments, a lot of build-up still to what would eventually become the Cell Saga. For that reason, I'm going to put it here a little lower than the Trunk Saga, around the B tier, I would say. After that is the Imperfect Cell Saga. Really interesting at the time as well. Again, a little bit more context and perspective. We didn't know who Cell was at the time, and everything that Trunks had said up until that point was all wrong. It was supposed to be Android 17 and 18 that attacked that island. It wasn't. Things weren't making sense to Trunks, and the reason for that was this mysterious creature that had appeared, obviously that we know to be Cell. The most memorable thing from this saga was Piccolo fighting Android 17 and also fighting Imperfect Cell. This is also another period in the show's history that Piccolo was actually stronger than Vegeta. Fun fact. Other than that, nothing super memorable to it. For that reason, I'm going to put it in the C tier. I feel like I'm on Shark Tank. For that reason, I'm putting it in the C tier. After that is the Perfect Cell Saga, and it consists of that semi-perfect Cell all the way up into the very end battle when Vegeta and Trunks fought him on that little island. A lot of stuff happened between there. That's the hyperbolic time chamber type stuff. It introduced Saiyan transformations that kind of went away later in the series. Super Saiyan first grade, Super Saiyan second grade, that Ultra Super Saiyan, Perfect Super Saiyan. It's when their muscles get really, really big, their power level goes up, but they slow down as a consequence. I love that fight. I love seeing Super Vegeta and Super Trunks fighting Perfect Cell. It was a lot of fun. It was a really, really good battle. For that reason, I'm going to put it here in the B tier. It had a lot of epic moments. I still remember the final flash that Vegeta did, and it cut him, destroyed half of Cell's body. And at this point, Cell even admitted that Trunks in particular was stronger than him in physical strength. But he just had to sacrifice too much speed and couldn't beat him. After that is the Cell Game Saga, and as you, I'm sure, remember, introduces Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. An extremely iconic moment in the series. I think you know that I'm probably going to put it in either A or S tier. For me, it's S tier. This was the peak of Gohan being a badass. I even have this Super Saiyan 2 statue of Gohan. I mean, it was just awesome. Another period in this show's history that I think would have been a comfortable ending. Goku having died, Gohan reaching this amazing new level, new protector of the Earth. I think it could have ended comfortably there. It was just too popular and they wanted to keep it going. And let's get into that. After that is the Otherworld Saga, a very small kind of sub-saga of the series where Goku goes to Otherworld. This is where he fights Pikkon, and that's pretty much it. Pikkon doesn't exist in the manga at all, and that's really weird because I loved this whole Otherworld tournament where Goku's fighting Pikkon. Remember, they do that little flip thing, hit the ceiling, and then fly back down, and that disqualified both of them. Goku also uses the Super Kaioken technique, which is the first time we see him use Kaioken as a Super Saiyan. Crazy. A lot of fun, really short, about as short as the Garlic Jr. Saga, but so much better. I'm gonna put this here in the B tier as well. I know you've been waiting on this one, just to see my opinion on it. Up next is the Great Saiyaman Saga. So we go from Gohan being one of the most badass, powerful beings in the entire universe to Saiyaman. I remember as a kid not hating the Saiyaman saga. I thought it was kind of cool seeing Gohan as like an older teenager going to high school, living normal life, playing baseball, having trouble with girls and stuff, and becoming a superhero that really tones down just how powerful he is. I always thought that was really, really entertaining. In retrospect, and how it fits in with the rest of the series, maybe not so much. And it doesn't really build up into anything. It's not necessary for the rest of the series. It's not like Gohan would have never done the tournament leading up to Buu if Gohan never became Saiyaman. For that reason, because it's such a useless arc, I'm putting it here in the F tier. After that is the World Tournament Saga. Again, another really short saga, just whenever the tournament starts. It ends with the Supreme Kai, I remember like freezing Gohan as his Super Saiyan 2 form, and then Spopovich and Yamu like draining that power to flee to go and try to revive Majin Buu. Very short in comparison to the rest of the series. However, it is necessary for the series to continue after that. The most iconic moment from this saga would have been when Gohan became a Super Saiyan 2 again. I remember Kibito and Supreme Kai egging on Gohan to show them his hidden power, and Goku having to be like, "It's okay, son, just go ahead and do it." And I just remember how like stoic and like serious Gohan was after he became a Super Saiyan 2, staring down Kibito and being like, okay, I don't want anything to do with Gohan now. That's really the only super memorable thing about that saga, in my opinion. For that reason, I'm going to put it here in the D tier. Finally, I'm filling up some of the lower tiered ones. Next is the Bobbity Saga. This saga is when Piccolo and Krillin return to Stone from Dabura's spit. Goku, Gohan, and Vegeta infiltrate Babbity's spaceship. It's also the birth of Majin Vegeta and the start of that fight between Goku and Majin Vegeta. A lot of really important stuff happens. Again, a lot of build-up leading up to future stuff. But that Majin Vegeta and Goku fight is a very good and memorable fight. Not as good, I don't think, as the original Goku and Vegeta fight, even though their power level is way, so much more destructive. I think it's really good. I'm going to put it here in the C tier, only because I just know that there's more stuff up and coming. After that is the Majin Buu Saga, a much bigger saga with a lot more stuff happening in it. The Majin Buu Saga starts from when Majin Buu, Fat Buu, is like emerged and goes all the way up to when Gohan is able to pull the Z Sword. And in that time, we get a lot more iconic Dragon Ball Z stuff. The first time Goku became a Super Saiyan 3. It just absolutely blew my mind as a kid. It was such a badass transformation. Whoa. It's also the introduction of the fusion dance, when Goku teaches Piccolo how to do it, so then Piccolo could teach Goten and Trunks to do it. I don't know where you might stand with the Super Saiyan 3 transformation for the first time, even though it's pretty much been nerfed now. Don't get me wrong, I know that. And the start of the Majin Vegeta versus Goku fight. It concludes in this saga, so bear that in mind. So because of all that stuff that happens, I'm going to put it here in the B tier. Up next is the Fusion Saga. So it begins with the birth of Gotenks, all the way up into the end fight with Super Buu, with Vegito being absorbed inside him. So it's like, it goes all the way up until pretty much they take everybody outside of Majin Buu. I hope that if you're watching this, you know Dragon Ball Z, because the more I talk about it, the weirder I think it would sound out of context. But this is the saga that included Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks and Vegito just being absolutely amazing. I loved this saga. I recorded it on VHS whenever it played live, back when, VHS players were a thing. So I could constantly rewatch all the Vegito battle stuff. I'm putting it up here in the A tier. And last but not least, the Kid Buu Saga. Kid Buu is probably the most evil of the big three, of Frieza, Cell, and Buu. But don't misunderstand me. I would think that Frieza is the most cruel of the three. Cell just has a lot of that Saiyan DNA in him. He just wants bigger challenges, and I think his evil just mostly comes from wanting to provoke, his opponents. But Kid Buu, right after he became Kid Buu again, destroys Earth. There's no rationalizing, there's no discussion. He is just like pure unbridled evil. And that's what they were going for, and I think that they nailed the evil aspect with Kid Buu the best. The end battle on the Supreme Kai's world was amazing. It's one of the most entertaining Dragon Ball Z big climactic battles, in my opinion. And again, I think would have been a comfortable ending for the series, and for many years it was. However, when I think about the battle with Kid Buu, I don't think that it holds as much emotional weight, at least for me, as like the battle between Goku and Frieza, like the original, or the battle between Gohan and Cell. And because of that, I'm going to place it here in the A tier, just a little bit below those battles. And that completes my tier list. That is the entirety of Dragon Ball Z. I know that I may have placed some sagas a little too high or a little too low from where you might like. Even if you don't agree with everything, hopefully you can at least see why I put things where I put them. I would love to hear what you have to say down in the comments below, so let me know what you think about how I placed everything on the tier list here. I hope my icons were recognizable enough to where you could see the sagas that they're supposed to represent. I don't know if it translates that well on camera, but hopefully me talking about it was enough. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave me a like. It helps me out a lot. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I post new videos every single week. And again, let me know some of your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in my next video. Take care.